Hi guys, it's Chris, still not in his shed, still in his kitchen, still talking about himself in the third person. I'm in my kitchen and I'm going to try another cider. I've got a palette coming this coming week with loads of stuff on it. I've also got some other samples coming from various places, so there'll be loads of stuff to try. So I wasn't going to do a lot in these few days, but I had something. I thought, oh, I haven't tried that for ages, like I did it, must be, months and months and months ago. This is a new vintage, so it's worth trying. And it's a Gwatkin, and it's the Yarlington Mill, this guy. I sell a lot of Gwatkins. I sell a lot of their original blend, more of that than the Yarlington. So this is classed as a medium, it says on the label somewhere, yeah, medium farmhouse cider, it says that here. But his Gwatkin has a sweeter tooth, so his ciders tend to be sweeter, it's just the way it is. It's down to the palate of the cider maker in this country to determine whether it's medium, dry or sweet, and Genesis tend to be sweeter. So if it says medium, it tends to be a sweeter medium, but it tends to get good acidity. I have a sweet tooth. I can drink this stuff all day. I love it. It's 6%. The original blend is 4.5. So the acidity comes a bit more to the fore. The sugar's a little bit more in the background. With this is richer. Has the acidity, which is much more subtle. But I love it. I find it delicious and rich and gorgeous to drink. And you can drink it as a sweet cider, even though it's a medium. But I've also got some cheese. 2 bits of cheese. Thought, let's do it. I've done this before, but I want to taste it again, and also let's do it with some cheese just to mix things up a bit. So I've got 2 bits of cheese, quite a small bit of this cheese. This is a Beaufort from the Savoie. It's Alpine cheese, big cheese. These guys, like 35-40 kilos, massive, very deep and wide. Also have concave. If you see a big cheese like that, which is concave at the sides like that, Beaufort. That's just it's something that sets them apart. Usually they're sort of slightly convex. With Beaufort, slightly concave. So that's how you can tell a Beaufort when you spot one, and they're big as well. Alpine, so dense paste, lots of calcium in them, so quite flexible, dense, smooth paste. Low acid, cooked curd. So cooked curd cheeses give you different flavour profiles. Thermophilic bacteria, heat-loving bacteria give you different flavour profiles. Propionic bacteria, I think of Emmental, that kind of thing, and it gives you a sweetness as well. So that's what we associate with these styles of cheeses. And the other thing I have is a blue cheese, this blue cheese here, and this is Stichelton. So Stichelton sounds a bit like Stilton, doesn't it? Well, yeah, not by accident. So Stichelton was the medieval Norman name, I think, for the town of Stilton, and this is an unpasteurised cheese made to a Stilton recipe, but it's unpasteurised, and all Stilton now has to be pasteurised. So if you make an unpasteurised Stilton, it ain't Stilton. So that's why this is called Stichelton, made by Joe Schneider on the Welbeck estate in Nottinghamshire. I know this cheese very well. I know Joe very well. I actually made this cheese with Joe. So it's basically ticks all the boxes of Stilton. It's made in the right region, so Nottinghamshire. So you can only make Stilton in Nottinghamshire, Derbyshire, Leicestershire. This ticks that box. It's made in Nottinghamshire, and it follows all the rules of making a Stilton except unpasteurised milk, which makes it more variable, but also can make it attain greater heights, let's say, than its pasteurised counterpart. Although Colson Bassett Stilton absolutely rocks, and it's one of my favourite cheeses, and that's pasteurised. So the raw milk pasteurised thing, could go either way. But yeah, beautiful natural rind on that you can see. Maybe you'll see the holes as well, where they've pierced it to let the air in to activate the blue rock 40 penicillium. So without the piercing, it doesn't wake up, it stays dormant, and you have a white cheese. That's what white Stilton is. But with a blue Stilton, you pierce it, let the air in, and it goes blue. So we're going to try that with this. So I think sweet beverages, sweet wines, sweet ciders go great with cheese. All cheese is salt, all cheese is acidity. The salt and the sugar work great together. And this has got some sparkle to it as well. So with the fattiness, it should work. Should work. It's not going to be terrible, whatever happens. So let's open it up. See what it says on here. The Yarlington Mill apple is a favourite with traditional cider makers because of its outstanding taste. It originates from deepest Somerset, but is now found growing throughout the cider makers' kingdom. The well-sized apples, which are red and yellow in colour, are ready to harvest in late November. The juice is slow to ferment, which produces a rich red medium cider. So quite dark in colour. So that's the tannins. It's a tannic cider apple, so it's got tannins which react with the sugar to give you that nice dark colour. Wild yeast. I think pretty much most of the things that they ferment at Gwatkins are in like old oak, old wooden barrels of some description. Let's open it up. And Yarlington Mill is one of my favourites in Yarlington. The mill is in Somerset, just near North Cadbury, which is where Montgomery's cheddar comes from. It's a neighbouring village, in fact. So, as you can see, that is sparkling. Let's pour a bit out in the glass. Comme ça. Let's also spill a bit. Comme ça. Move that out of the way. So as you can see, it's fizzy, 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 fizzy. Beautiful amber colour though. Beautiful amber colour, bright. So they do filter the stuff they put in bottle. The still stuff you get in box isn't filtered because it's in a box. You can't see it, but with the bottle stuff they filter it because they like it to brighten the bottle. And to be honest, I can see why. It doesn't seem to affect the flavour too much. If you have the stuff from the box, it does have a bit more richness and thickness to it almost. This stuff does feel a little lighter on the palate. Got a tweet there. Hope you enjoyed that. But yeah, still great. All right, let's give it a swirl and a sniff. Yeah, so there's that Gwatkin's acidity. I talk about Savoie having a funkiness to them. With Gwatkin's, there tends to be an acid element to it, which I really like, and it's lactic, but it comes across often as citric, like lemon and lime, and I really like that. Mouth-watering. But then also you get that deep aged, slightly baked apple character, I want to say. Ripe, red, rich apple and skin. That's what you're getting with some of that acidity over the top. Yeah. Smells good, smells mouth-watering. If you don't mind sugar, if you don't mind a bit of sweetness, I recommend getting hold of some of this. It rocks. It really does. I love it. I have a sweet tooth, don't mind admitting it, and I love it. My suspicion is if you give it to someone like Albert or Savoie or Andrew at Le Grappin Winery, he doesn't like sugar either, they would hate it. They just won't be able to get on with it. I think that because it's got the acidity, it's not sickly sweet. I find it delicious. Let's give it a go. I mean, it's sweet, but you know what? It's not as cloying as some of like the medium dries and mediums you get from commercial cider makers. Anyway, shape or form. It's got sugar in it. It's unapologetic about that. It's also got bubbles though, that makes it sort of light and spritzy, which balances some of that fizziness. It's also got acidity. It's definitely there, and that acidity just balances out that sweetness. I mean, some people might just find this too sweet. I flipping love it. I flipping love it. I want to say it's a guilty pleasure, but it's not. I have no guilt about it. It's great. And there's the apple character. There's that acidity. Sort of demerara character as well, I want to say. Yeah. I mean, rich, ripe, round, sweet apple. And then acidity just in the back to balance it out. Like I said, not as strong as it is in the original blend, but still there, and it just takes the edge off and makes you be able to drink more of it. It's rocking, in my opinion, this stuff. Shoulders loosened up a little bit, you might notice. Take my sling off. Here's my sling over here. Still going to wear it. Still going to wear it for at least another 2 weeks or more. But I can't keep wearing it all the time, and it's good to take it off and just use the old shoulder a bit. As you can see, I can drink. It's so it hurts, but you know, I'm drinking, aren't I? What am I gonna do? Bit more of that. So we have some cheese with it. Yes, Chris. Okay, where is my knife? Right on the choice. Let's do the Beaufort first. So yeah, hard, dense paste. This came from Mons Cheesemongers, obviously, down in Borough Market. You can buy it at monscheese.co.uk if you want to get some of this from them if you're not in London. They do sell it to shops around and businesses around the country as well, but if you want to get it online, you can. So yeah, dense paste, quite bendy, high calcium. It's got to have a sweetness to it, but also salty. It tends to be quite sweet, Beaufort. And there's a kind of propionic, hard to describe. Emmental has a propionic flavour. This has that too. But there's the salt. And a bit like the acidity in the cider. The salt marries with that sweetness and balances it out. It's almost like a protein element, like an eggy protein element to it as well, which I like very much. Hint of chicken stock, chicken flavoured crisps, I want to say, in that as well. It's great, really good, really good. Should we try it with this? Yes, Chris. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Because that saltiness, that almost bouillon-y character, with the sweetness in that, And the acidity in that, which is relatively low for cheese, but it still has acidity. The acidity in that works. For me, works really well. Excuse me. The classic cheeses to pair with cider are Normandy cheeses with Normandy cider, so Camembert, du Normandie, and classic West Country cheeses. So really we're thinking cheddar. We could also go like a traditional red Leicester, like Sparkenhorse, something like that. That would work really well as well. You know, so traditional British cheeses generally, I think, territorials. But it works. They don't clash. I mean, they don't clash. They work very nicely. The bubbles are scrubbing the fats, the saltiness to the sweetness. It's a great thing. I mean, this comes from a farm in Herefordshire. This comes from a mountain in the Savoie in eastern France. And yet, great bedfellows. Great bedfellows. Now, let's try something closer at home. So Nottinghamshire meets Herefordshire. Okay, this is going to be saltier, it's going to be more intense. There's always more salt in blue cheeses. It's just part of the recipe. It necessarily has more salt. So you tend to want sweetness with it because sugar and salt go great together. So you tend to want to have a little bit of sweetness when you're having blue cheeses. And most blue cheeses will have pretty much all blue cheeses will have high salt. So pairing it with something with a high sugar content is a great thing to do. I think Roquefort and Stichelton, that's the classic. Okay, I'm going to eat the rind with it as well. I love the rind on these things. Let's have a go. Much more intense. Relatively low acid. Because it's broken down, it starts bright and it's acid when it's young. The pH goes up, acidity goes down as it ages. Malty, also toffee character. There's a mushroom element comes from the rind, but that kind of intense sort of saltiness is the thing you get the most. And that's why we want sugar. One more bit. Excuse me. Yeah. I almost think, actually, because that's so intense, you could almost go with a still cider with it. Still ciders tend to have more intensity on the palate. Less aromatics, because they don't have the bubbles of aromatics that burst in your mouth and go up the back of your nose. But on the palate, it's thicker, richer. That might stand up this quite well, but having said that, this is quite fatty, so the bubbles are good as well. Again, great. Really good cheese. Yeah. That one gives that a honeyed character. I'm perceiving like a honeyed element in the cider now. I've had that salty thing with it. Delicious. Sweet stuff with cheese. Sweet stuff with cheese. And if you like sweet ciders, Gwatkin's Yarlington Mill, great. It says it's medium, but I mean by commercial standards it probably is. From my palate, from drinking lots of farmhouse ciders, I'd say his mediums are sweeter. Doesn't bother me at all. Love it. And I know lots of people are like me and do like a little bit of sugar, or even a lot of sugar. And if you do that. And if you do like sweet stuff, have it with cheese. Almost any cheese will work. Something with a higher salt level low is probably better. If you'd rather go for something soft, go for something harder or with blue, because they're going to be more intense, because they're denser paste, so they've got that blue that brings a bit more zing to the party, and the blue cheese will have more salt as well necessarily. There you go, 14 minutes, a bit too long. Never mind. Hope you got something from that. If you did, go out and get yourself some cheese. The Stichelton I got from Trethowne Brothers, and you can get that online from them. The Beaufort I got from Mons Cheesemongers, you can get it from them online as well. Any Alpine would do though. The Gruyere is fantastic. Comte's a bit more delicate. I'd go for something a bit more tense if you're pairing it with something sweet personally. But Beaufort, it's got the sweetness to go with it. Gruyere, like I said, even try something like Maréchal for a bit of fun if you like. I'm not going to go into what that is. Look it up on the website if you want. So that's Mons Cheese UK. And Stichelton, yeah, get it from Trethowne's. That's where I got mine, and it's good stuff. Alright guys, I'm going to be back a lot more. We've got a lot more to taste in the coming days. So I look forward to that. But until then, thank you for joining me. And cheers.